41. An interesting number, isn't it? It feels neither here nor there. Not a clean, round number like 40, not quite on its way to 50. It is a number in between, and perhaps that's where you've been living lately, in a state of in-between, caught somewhere between the person you were told you should be and the person you vaguely sense you are. And it's exhausting, this in-between space. It feels like a constant low-grade hum of effort. The effort to show up, the effort to smile at the right time, the effort to care about the things everyone else seems to care about with such baffling ease. You attend the party, you join the conversation, you laugh at the jokes, but you feel like a phantom at the feast. There is a strange pane of glass between you and the world, and you are the only one who seems to notice it's there. You've likely spent years, maybe decades, trying to fix this. You've read the books, you've tried the 5-step plans, you've set the resolutions. You've told yourself to be more positive, more engaged, more something. You've tried to shatter that pane of glass, only to find your fists bloodied and the glass entirely unscathed. And with every failed attempt, a quiet, nagging voice in the back of your mind gets a little louder. The voice that says, "Something is wrong with you. You are broken. You are not built for this." This feeling of inadequacy is a peculiar kind of loneliness. It's not the loneliness of an empty room. It is the far more profound loneliness of a crowded room where you are the only one speaking a different language, a language no one else can hear. But what if I were to tell you that this feeling, this deep, unshakable sense of being out of sync with the world, is not a symptom of your brokenness? What if it is, in fact, the very first faint signal of your awakening? What if that pane of glass isn't a prison wall you need to break, but a lens that is finally, after all these years, coming into focus? What if the problem isn't that you can't play the game correctly, but that you are starting to see with excruciating clarity that it is all just a game? This exhaustion you feel isn't a sign of failure. It is the honorable fatigue of a soul that has been trying to pretend for far too long. You see, the society we have constructed is a magnificent and elaborate stage play. It has its scripts, its costumes, its unwritten rules of etiquette and performance. From the moment we are born, we are handed a role. We are taught our lines. We learn what is considered a successful performance and what is considered a failure. We are taught to chase certain props, the right job, the right house, the right partner, the right number in a bank account, and we are told that these props will bring us happiness. And for a very long time, most of us believe it. We pour all of our energy into being the best possible actor in this play. We react on cue. When someone praises us, we feel a jolt of pleasure. When someone criticizes us, we feel a sting of pain. When the news tells us to be afraid, we are afraid. When an advertisement tells us we are incomplete without its product, we feel a pang of longing. We are puppets, you and I, dancing on the strings of approval and fear, desire and aversion. And the puppeteers are not some shadowy cabal. They are the collective agreements we've all made. The game is the puppeteer. The normal person, the well-adjusted individual, is simply a very, very good actor. They are someone who has learned their lines so well, who has become so identified with their role, that they have forgotten they are on a stage. For them, the play is reality. The props are real. The applause is life itself. They are not tormented by the sense of artifice because they are fully immersed in it. Their reactions are swift, predictable, and automatic because that's what the script demands. But you've started to forget your lines. You've begun to notice the flimsy painted backdrop behind the grand marble columns. You hear the creaking of the stage machinery. You see the other actors, their faces strained with the effort of their performance, a flicker of panic in their eyes when they almost miss a cue. And this is the source of your pain. Your pain is not a personal deficiency. It is the cognitive dissonance of a sentient being waking up inside a performance. It is the ache of a conscience that can no longer stomach the script. Your frustration is the perfectly natural, perfectly sane response of a healthy mind to a profoundly unhealthy environment. The world tells you that you are anxious, but perhaps you are just sensitive to the rampant unspoken fear that underpins the entire show. The world tells you that you are depressed, but perhaps you are just grieving the loss of a connection to something real, something true, which the play has all but stamped out. Your inability to just be happy isn't a chemical imbalance. It's an honest response to a game that offers prizes, but no genuine fulfillment. You are not sick. You are homesick for a reality you can't quite name, but can feel in your bones. And this is where the great shift occurs. This is the moment when the path forks. One path leads back to the stage, to trying harder, to doubling down on the performance, to numbing the dissonance with more distractions, more ambitions, more noise. The other path is terrifyingly simple. It asks you to do nothing. It asks you to stop reacting, and to simply observe. What does this mean, to observe? It is not a cold, clinical detachment. It is not an act of superiority. It is an act of profound compassion, first and foremost, for yourself. It is the act of stepping off the stage, walking quietly to the back of the theater, and taking a seat in the audience. From here, you can see the whole production. You can see the actor playing you down there, under the harsh lights, running around, frantically reacting to everything. You see the other actors. You see the plot, with its predictable dramas and manufactured crises. And for the first time, you are not in the play. You are watching it. Let's explore this. Think of the last time you felt a strong urge to react. Perhaps it was an email from your boss with a passive-aggressive tone. The old you, the actor, would have felt an immediate jolt, a surge of adrenaline. The mind would race. What do they mean by that? Are they angry? Is my job at risk? I need to craft the perfect response right now to defend. This is reaction. It is the puppet string being pulled. The script demands a response. Defensiveness, anxiety, counter-aggression. Now, imagine observing. The email arrives. The initial jolt still happens. The body has its habits. But instead of being swept away by it, you watch it. You, the audience member, observe the feeling of adrenaline rising in the actor on stage. You say, "Ah, there it is, the feeling of being." You observe the mind as it starts to spin its frantic stories. Look at that. The mind is now creating a dozen catastrophic future. You don't try to stop it. You don't judge it. You simply watch it, as you would watch a storm cloud pass across the sky. You are no longer the storm. You are the sky. The storm is happening within you, but it is not you. And in this space of observation, something miraculous happens. A pause. A breath. The automatic, conditioned link between stimulus and response is severed. The puppet string is pulled, but the puppet does not dance. In this quiet, empty space, a new possibility is born. Choice. You are no longer obligated to follow the script. You can see the whole situation with a newfound clarity. You might see that your boss is likely just having a bad day and projecting their own stress. You might see that the email doesn't actually require an immediate response. You might see that your own fear is the primary source of your suffering, not the email itself. From this place of calm observation, your action, if any is needed at all, will be intelligent, measured, and authentic. It will come not from a place of fear, but from a place of wisdom. This practice transforms every corner of your life. Consider the social gatherings that used to drain you. The actor felt an immense pressure to perform, to be witty, to be interesting, to ask the right questions, to agree, to please. The actor would leave feeling utterly exhausted from the effort of maintaining this mask. The observer, however, sits within you at the party. You watch the conversations ebb and flow like a tide. You see one person trying to dominate the discussion, another desperate for validation, another hiding behind a shield of cynicism. You don't judge them. You see their performance with a kind of gentle sadness, a deep empathy, because you were once on that same stage, just as lost in your role. When it is your turn to speak, you don't scramble for a clever line. You simply listen. And if a genuine response arises from your quiet center, you offer it. If not, you remain silent. And you begin to notice something strange. The silence you offer is not awkward. It's spacious. It's a gift. In a world drowning in noise, your calm presence becomes a sanctuary. People may not understand it. They might even find it unsettling at first, but they will feel it. They will feel that you are not trying to get anything from them. You are simply there. And this is the beginning of true connection, a connection that is not based on the transaction of pleasing personalities, but on the shared ground of being. This is the great reframing. The qualities that you once judged as your greatest flaws are revealed to be your most profound strengths. That feeling of being lonely in a crowd, that was never a social failing. It was the birth of a sensitivity that can no longer tolerate the noise of superficiality. It was your soul's allergy to the inauthentic. You were not lonely because you were inadequate. You were lonely because you were searching for a depth of connection that the play acting of social life simply cannot provide. By observing, you stop trying to force yourself to enjoy the shallow end of the pool, and you become comfortable in your own deep waters. You find that the solitude you once feared is actually a rich, fertile ground of sovereignty. That persistent inability to fit in, that feeling that you are a square peg in a world of round holes, this wasn't a sign of your misshapenness. It was the sign that you had outgrown the holes you were being asked to fill. Fitting in requires you to shave off your own edges, to mute your own colors, to contort your own truth to match the shape of the collective. Your refusal to fit in was never a rebellion. It was an act of integrity. It was your spirit's unconscious refusal to self-mutilate. By observing, you stop seeing yourself as a failed puzzle piece and start seeing yourself as a complete picture, one that was never meant to be part of someone else's puzzle. You grant yourself the permission you were always waiting for others to give. That painful habit of seeing the falseness in the world, the hypocrisy in politics, the desperation in consumerism, the fear behind bravado. This was never cynicism. It was clarity. A person asleep in the matrix does not see the code. You were being tormented by the gift of a vision that could pierce through the masks. You saw the strings and it hurt. The observer does not deny this vision. It embraces it. But it adds a layer of compassion. You see the scared child behind the blustering CEO. You see the deep insecurity driving the social media influencer. You see the profound human longing for safety and love that motivates all of these strange, misguided games. The pain of your clarity is softened by the balm of understanding. It no longer makes you angry. It makes you tender. And what about that constant draining effort to please everyone, which you have recently started to abandon, leaving you feeling guilty and selfish? That was never your purpose. It was a survival strategy you learned as a child, a way to secure love and safety by becoming a flawless mirror for others. Stopping the people-pleasing is not an act of selfishness. It is the beginning of the most fundamental act of love, the love for your own truth. It is the puppet finally cutting its own strings. The observer understands that you cannot give from an empty well. By ceasing to react to everyone else's perceived needs and desires, you finally create the space to hear your own. And only from this place of fullness can you offer anything of real value to the world. Think of it like this. For years, you have been a single wave thrashing about in the ocean. You identified completely with your form as a wave. You feared crashing into other waves. You despaired when you were small. You felt pride when you were tall. And you lived in constant terror of your ultimate demise, crashing upon the shore. Reacting is the life of the wave. Observing is the slow dawning realization that you are not the wave. You are the entire ocean. The waves are simply something the ocean is doing. They rise and they fall, they are large and they are small, but the ocean itself remains. Its depth is undisturbed. When you realize you are the ocean, you are no longer afraid of the waves. You can experience the thrill of being a mighty crest and the peace of being a gentle trough. You are all of it. The drama of your individual life continues, but it no longer has the power to define you or destroy you. You are the space in which it all happens, and so a new reality begins to dawn. It's not a sudden explosion of light, but more like a slow sunrise. A quiet peace settles in your bones. The constant, frantic need to do something, to fix something, to become something. It begins to dissolve. The world doesn't change. The play continues. The news is still full of chaos. People are still lost in their roles. The demands on your time do not cease. But you are no longer a slave to them. You are anchored in the stillness of the observer. This does not mean you become passive or inert. On the contrary, your actions become infinitely more powerful. They are no longer the frantic, fear-based reactions of a cornered animal. They are the deliberate, wise responses of a conscious being. You find yourself saying no with a quiet kindness that is more effective than any angry outburst. You find yourself listening to others with a presence that heals more than any advice you could ever offer. You find that creativity, intuition, and love flow through you more easily now that the channel is not clogged with the static of constant reaction. You stop fighting the river of life, trying to steer it, trying to dam it, trying to force it to go where you want it to go. And you discover the ultimate secret. You are the river. Your only job was ever to flow. There is a solitude in this, yes. Let's not pretend otherwise. When you step out of the play, you can no longer gossip with the other actors backstage in the same way. Their dramas will start to seem quaint. Their anxieties will seem misplaced. You will feel a distance. But this is not the painful loneliness of the outcast. It is the dignified solitude of the mountain. The mountain is not lonely. It is simply itself. It watches the seasons change. It feels the wind and the rain. It provides a home for 1,000 living things, but it is not swept away by the turmoil in the valley below. Your presence becomes a kind of quiet strength for others, even if they don't know why. They just know it feels good to be around you. So, the next time it happens, the next time you feel that familiar tug, that surge of anger when someone cuts you off in traffic, that sting of jealousy when you see a friend's curated success on social media, that wave of anxiety when you think about the future, do not condemn it. Do not fight it, and do not, for the love of God, believe it. Instead, just for a moment, stop. Take one breath and observe. Watch the feeling as if it were a curious cloud in your vast inner sky. Watch the thoughts that spin from it like threads from a spool. See the puppet string. Feel its pull, and then, with the infinite quiet power of your own awareness, simply choose not to dance. In that pause, in that sacred space between stimulus and response, you will not find a solution. You will find something far better. You will find yourself.